Okay, everybody. Hi there. It's Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. This is around the time that I'm usually here, although not necessarily every week. It just sort of depends. But we're live on my YouTube channel and we're live at dancerucci.com. And we may or may not be live on Facebook. I got to tinker with that. But anyway, here I am once again with Christine Flowers. Christine, it's been a while.
I know, Dan. I was like, we needed, we never really need a reason to talk
No, we
and
don't.
do it more regularly. But I think this is I think you had a great idea when you reached out to me. I think this is really important and very timely. So I'm really happy to see you. How are you? How is Carol? How's your family? Everybody happy?
Everybody is well, thank God. My wife, my kids, my grandkids, and everybody.
Good.
Thank goodness. Um, we we want this discussion, and we're going to be bringing in a very very special guest, everybody, at 8:30, who's going to jump in here to the discussion. But this discussion was prompted by the recent passing of Pennsylvania Supreme Court Justice Sandra Schultz Newman. But I want to say before we start talking about Justice Newman, and our special guest will have some things to say about her too. I knew Justice Newman, of course, when I worked at the Bar Association. I always admired her. I sort of admired her from afar. But then my dear friend, Gail Michael, who was a Republican committee woman in Montgomery County forever, she invited me to a party where Justice Newman was a guest. And it turns out that Gail graduated from Penn with Justice Newman.
Oh, wow.
At a time, as you know, Christine, at a time there were very few women graduates of Penn.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Very, very few. Like you could count them on one or two hands, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then for the first time, I had a chance to socialize with Justice Newman. And it just all happened from there, because once she got to know you, and if she liked you, that was it.
Yeah.
And we communicated regularly on Facebook. I went to some events that she had where she was cheering political events for different people that were running for office. Mm-hmm. And she always acted like, when she saw you, like this was the most wonderful thing and you were the only person in the world. And just to bring this story full circle, my friend Gail Michael and Justice Newman, this week just passed, died. Both of them died within a few days of one another.
Oh, Dan, I'm so sorry. I didn't know Gail had passed away as well. Wow.
Yes. So, and so this reminds us, and Gail was, I don't even know how to begin to explain her. Suffice it to say that she married a little later than life to a man that she was madly in love with, and he was handsome, he was cultured, cultivated, successful, just a wonderful, wonderful guy. They made such an amazing couple. She quickly had two children, two little boys. And before those little boys even had a chance to begin to grow up, he got, I believe it was a brain tumor, and passed away. And she raised these boys. And today, they are both successful attorneys. One of them clerked for Justice Samuel Alito.
Wow.
One, they went to the top schools. and they are both hugely, hugely successful charities. They have kids of their own. And I was with them yesterday at very, very private services for Gail,
Hmm.
um, at which I was honored to be asked to deliver some remarks. But what a story, Christine. These women, this is a generation of women. This was before the women's movement or anything like that, before Gloria Steinem and all those people. Okay.
When you mentioned your friend Gail and what happened, what so tragically happened to her, obviously the first person I think of is my mom, because she had a similar um, trajectory experience. Fell in love with my father. Daddy died when he was 42, and my mom was also 42, and she was left with 5 kids. I was 20, had a 16-year-old brother, 14-year-old brother, 12-year-old brother, 10-year-old sister. And my mom did the same thing. She raised us by herself for the next 35, 36 years,
Unbelievable.
until she passed away. And I, 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 I think of that type of person, your friend Gail, my mother, my, grandmother, my great grandmother, who had to raise 7 children after her husband died at the age of 38. And I think there is something about these people that transcends religion, ethnicity, political affiliation. It is something within them that I truly believe is disappearing from this landscape, because they didn't complain. They didn't say, oh, woe is me. And they didn't run away. Your friend Gail stayed, and she raised 2 wonderful, wonderful sons. My mom raised 3 lawyers, um, a physical therapist, and my sister was a very successful marketing director in Europe. Um, these women are just, they're again, there is something in them, like your wife. I will say the same thing about Carol, a teacher who raised an amazing family, who is an intelligent, loving, compassionate, wonderful conversationalist. These women do not complain.
No.
Life gives them whatever it gives them,
Right.
and they deal. And not only do they deal, but like Rumpelstiltskin, they weave gold out of straw. They are able to
That's a good
take
way of putting it.
they're
Yeah.
able to take these bad circumstances. And but to me, again, and I wrote about Justice Newman about this. I said, they don't complain. They don't say, oh, I grew up, it was such a hard time, and I had to deal with sexism and bigotry
No.
and patronizing. They don't do that. They just do the job. And today, my generation, the late boomer and the Gen Xers, for some reason, there's this tendency to say, oh, woe is us. It was so difficult for,
No.
we
Yeah.
stand on the
Yeah.
shoulders of giants who did it for
I
us.
never heard any of these women, Christine. I never heard them talk about work-life balance.
Yeah,
If somebody,
thank
if
you.
somebody had brought up the phrase, they wouldn't know what you were talking about. They would have looked at you quizzically,
Yeah,
because to them, and I said this in my remarks yesterday, they understood that everything was related to everything else.
right,
Okay.
right.
And you simply had to do what you needed to do when and how you were able to do it. You had to be able to juggle. That
Right.
was part of living. It was
Right.
part of life. You got up
Exactly.
in the morning and you I said you picked yourself up, dusted yourself off, dressed yourself up, and these women presented themselves to the world. They understand that life was a performance, and they went out there and performed every single day.
I love it. You made me think of that phrase from Auntie Mame. Life is a banquet, and some poor suckers are starving. Because
I think she said most poor suckers are
most
stuck.
poor suckers. It's true. I
Yes.
I think I like that you mentioned the work home balance, because I also think they had their priorities straight. I don't have children, and I was a teacher, so I feel in a way I still have children because I'm still in contact with some of my old students. But I knew that I was not the kind of person who would be able to balance that kind of I guess intersection of private and public, professional and private. And I decided that I would focus my energies on my professional life. It never occurred to me, as it should not occur to any woman who has children but wants also to keep her job, to say, well, men are able to do it all, why can't I? There is something incredibly essentially important about being raised by a mother, not a father, a mother. And these are women who understood that. They figured out a way to continue working, but to still make sure that they were in the home with their child. And today, that's an old fashioned kind of almost, verboten thing to say, that children need their mother, but they need their mother, and they need
Right.
that feminine influence. And my best friend from law school, still my best friend in the world, she had her first and only child, my godson. I wouldn't say late in life, but later than normal. I think she was 36. She took 5 years off. She left her job. She was a very successful lawyer at White and Williams. She left, and she focused on that baby, that son, that little boy. And only when he was able to go to school did she go back to work. And she went back part-time, and then, bit by bit, she reintegrated her job into her life. And I'm not talking about women who have to work, single mothers who have no one supporting their children. That's a completely different story. But the vanity job, the sense that I need to be working to feel fulfilled in my life,
Mhm.
that's something that never occurred to these women from that prior generation. It's something new, and it's sad.
No, I was saying, and the other thing was, and I'm reminded of this because um, quite a few years ago, uh, well, it's but actually it's more than 20 years ago. I wrote an article for the Bar Association magazine. I had this idea to interview these women who were part of this, what I called the vanguard. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? The first generation of women who sort of broke through.
Arlene
And
Dulles Lotman, Lynn Abraham,
oh
um,
yeah, Arlene was a
Kid
dear friend of
Stout.
mine, Lynn Abraham, who was still with us, thank God.
Thank God.
Uh,
Sadie Ladove, still with us. God bless.
yes, Sadie LaDove. Um, and there were two other things that struck me about them, Christine. One was that they they I asked them, well, didn't you think, how am I going to do this? And I'm going to become a lawyer. I mean, how is this going to happen? How am I going to do it? And what was your feeling as you embarked on this? And they, to a person, almost all of them said, I just knew I could do it. I just knew I could do it. And I was just, it was fascinating. The other thing was that, um, yes, they encountered, I don't think they called it sexual harassment. I mean, they encountered men who, you know, came on to them, made passes, however you made inappropriate remarks or jokes to them.
Yeah.
And all of them uh, did two things. They kind of sloughed it off, and at the same time, they made it known to these men uh, just how far they could go and how far they couldn't go. In other words, they set without being too confrontational, set very clear boundaries.
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
but
And
but
if you
also,
demand respect, you get it. If you demand respect, you get it, but you demand it the way you said. You do it sort of implicitly and not in your face, like, how dare you? How dare you? It's more like
right,
if you carry yourself a certain way, men are not going to
right.
feel that they can harass you. If you carry yourself with dignity, like, like those women did.
Well, most men are testing. They're testing almost like kids, almost like children, to see
And I
how
get
far they
pulled
can go.
out.
Okay, to see how far they can go, and they're going to see how far they can go. And if they know, most men, most reasonable, moral, intelligent men, if they see, oh, I can't go any further. Okay, that's wrong. All right, that's it.
Yeah.
But the third thing about these women was, and they were not shy about it, was that they liked men. They enjoyed the company of men, and they liked being attracted to men.
Plus, and this is something I wrote about Justice Newman, and I'm sure our guest is going to be able to sort of elaborate on that. But she was feminine. She was beautiful. I said she had this Dresden doll beauty. She had the pale skin,
Yes,
the fine features, the
yes.
flaming beautiful hair. She was not someone who was afraid to be beautiful. And I
Oh
think
no.
that was important. That was really important because back in those days, in the earlier days, in the
Yeah.
60s and the 70s, it was kind of like, well, you either had to be brainy, but wear the thick glasses and look like a librarian, or you were gorgeous and you were a bubblehead. And Justice Newman was able to incorporate both parts of her personality. I think a lot of those other women were too. Now, some of them weren't. Some of them were much more matter of fact, but that was their personality. It wasn't that they were hiding their femininity because they felt they had to. It was
No.
because they just weren't feminine women. But I love that Justice Newman wasn't afraid to be beautiful.
Oh no. And in fact, I was at an event with her one time, and we were taking pictures uh, with our Apple iPhones to put on social media. I mean, she was up with social media. She was into all of it.
I know.
And yeah, and I said, I'm going to put this on Facebook. And she said, "Let me see what you got." And she looked at the pictures, and she said, "Not this one, not this one, not that one. Okay, you can put that one up." I mean,
Yeah.
she's very conscious
Yes.
of
Yes,
it
she was.
in the best way, in the best way.
Yeah.
Very conscious of how she looked, how she presented herself to the public, you
Yeah.
know.
I
And
love that. I hate women who feel that they need to hide what is a God given gift, which is
right,
our femininity. She,
right,
you know, I mean, sure,
right,
you don't want to be looked at as a bubblehead, a blow up doll, or whatever. You want to inspire
yeah.
respect, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you don't have to look like Rosie O'Donnell to get it.
No, I'm going to bring
Sorry.
in our special guest, Lisa DePaulo. Here she is.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, Lisa DePaulo.
Hi,
How
how
are
you
you?
doing? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, darling. You just came in just as I mentioned
I
Blow Up Doll
know.
and Rosie O'Donnell in the same sentence.
Yeah. Well, I love the topic because, that's amazing thing about Sandy Newman
Yeah.
is that, like, her accomplishments are off the charts. What she did for women is staggering, but she did it all in high heels.
I know.
You know, I mean, that's just the best part.
Well, you wrote that great article about her for Philly Mag, and there's that photo of her in her closet with like shoes all over the place.
All over the place.
It's fabulous.
It was a funny story because I hadn't never met her. I was a young writer starting out at Philly Mag. It was 1988.
Wow.
And a publicist, Tina Breslow, I'm a really good PR person. There are some bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
Said to me at lunch, "Oh, I want to hear something really funny. You know who Sandy Newman is? The divorce lawyer? Yeah. And you know who Dr. Nose is? Oh, yeah, everyone knew who he was." Well, Sandy Newman told her husband, Dr. Nose, that they had to build a new house because she ran out of closet space.
And this is years before Sarah Jessica Parker and Sex in the City.
Oh, you know, Sandy Newman could have written Sex in the City.
Yeah.
I mean, she totally got that whole mentality. And of course, I ran back to my editor. I said, "I think I have my next story." And we did Mrs. Nose Builds Her Dream Closet.
I remember that. I love it, Mrs. Nose.
And the whole house around it.
Yeah. Oh, God. With the
But
indoor pool. She was telling stories like, you know, she designed the closet, which was 800 square feet, which is the size of a nice one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's bigger than my apartment.
Absolutely.
800 square feet. At the time, oh my God, you know, so, and she told the story how, you know, they were going through everything. This is going to be here. And somebody said, "Boy, there's everything but an indoor pool." And she said, "Well, why the hell not? Put in a pool." That was her, you know. I mean, she really, but what was very true was that, and I was kind of surprised that she liked the story, you know, like her rabbi.
She loved the story.
And she said, I said, "Why did you like the story?" And she said, "Because you made it clear that I earned my own money."
Yeah.
And I love that because it's true that people just assumed, you know, she's Dr. Nose's wife. But no, she certainly did earn her own money. She was, you know, she charged a rate that was an hourly rate that was amazing for the time. The only person paid higher hourly was Al Momjan.
Oh, yes, I knew him.
Yeah.
I knew him.
Oh, wow.
Al Momjan he was nationally renowned.
Absolutely. I profiled him too. He was a nice guy. He was a very, really kind of surprising personality because there was no bluster and all that.
Right.
So are we
That's
talking?
Unusual in a divorce lawyer. They've got
I know.
over the top character, even more than criminal defense attorneys. It's the divorce lawyers.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree. It's kind of.
Don't you think,
my
Lisa,
yeah.
that Sandy Newman's reaction also reflected her savvy and she would just instinctively knew how to deal with the media. Okay.
You are absolutely right. She did. She knew instinctively, I think, how to deal with people. You know, she had this kind of, I used to love to watch her interact because like we went on this crazy shopping trip to New York, you know, and whether it was the sales girl, you know, in the dressing room or, you know, the head of Bloomingdale's, she treated them the same.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And even after she was a judge and even after she was a justice of the Supreme Court, she had no airs about her. If she saw somebody, no matter what station that they were in life, that she knew from 30, 40 years ago, she would scream across the room and like as if she had just seen the most important person in the world and rushed to them to give them a big hug. I mean, there was no trepidation. There was no,
absolutely.
And I saw, and people, judges, important judges, so-called important VIP people who gazed upon this and thought, "Oh my God, what is she doing?" But that was just her. She didn't care. She she never got what we call robitis, which is when the judge puts on the robes.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
robitis. Okay.
Speaking of robitis, I
Yes.
remember back when I wrote about her, being a judge was far into the future. Okay. But I remember once saying to her, well, would you consider ever running to be, I didn't think Supreme Court, but, Court of Common Pleas, which she did first. And she said, oh, I don't know, Lisa. Could I wear that thing every day? And it's true, because she dressed to the nines to go into court. Everywhere she went, I never saw her. Even I'd go and since I moved back to Philly, I'd go out to visit her in Gladwin. We'd hang out, just gossip, and even like hanging out in her house on her couch, she looked impeccable.
Yeah.
I
got to say something, Lisa. It's how you wrote about her was really, you really captured her. But there was another judge, and I think you were in Philly when she was still around, and she was either on the bench or retired. And Danny and I were talking about her, Lisa Rachette. And there was something. They were very different characters. Obviously, Lisa Rachette was a South Philly Italian woman who, when I first saw her, she came to Mary and Mercy Academy when I was in the 11th grade to talk about the law. And in walks this woman with earrings, like brushing her shoulders, her hair's up. She's wearing like a midi skirt. She's got like, you could see her like bosom. And I'm looking at this, and the nuns are looking at her too. And I'm thinking, she's a judge? And she had this over the top character.
I'm so sorry I never met her.
She was absolutely amazing. She was bigger than life, vivid personality.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, Dan. She was bigger than life.
Yeah.
In almost a caricature. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but she was like, wow.
Right.
Justice Newman, Sandra Schultz Newman, let me put it this way. She was, as you described her, Lisa, she was exactly that kind of a person. But at the same time, she fit right in to the bench, to that judicial bench. Whereas I think Rachette was much more of a lone eagle out there. I don't see her ever having been able to be on an appellate bench where she had to play nice with other judges and get consensus. True. I think that Newman was able to do that. And that's the big difference between the two of them.
She also was able to cross the aisle before it was a trendy thing to do.
Yeah.
She, her friends, I remember the election party she had. Gosh, which one was it? 2024. And that her house was filled, mostly Republicans, but not all. And everybody got along in a way that I thought, if everybody could get along like this, like they do in Sandy Newman's living room.
Well, do you remember the ad that she ran for? She appeared in an ad. By the way, Dan, they had to make sure that the lighting was perfect. She appeared in an ad for Kevin Dougherty for his retention to the Supreme Court.
You didn't see that.
He was, he's a Democrat and she's a Republican.
Yeah.
She loved him dearly.
Yeah.
And she was like, I want him to be retained.
She was very independent-minded that way, and she was very loyal, and most of these women were. Judge Rachette was a brilliant woman. She wrote a book about abused and neglected children. I think it was called Throwaway Children. It was a landmark national bestseller, even before she was on the bench. Okay, she was a brilliant woman. And I think that she was so smart, and she was extremely stylish. I mean, she could have been a model. She was so stylish.
She reminded me of Marissa Berenson, that kind of
Yeah.
long, you know, in the dark hair and the
only time I really saw Judge Rachette sort of, you know, how can I put this? Be like really comfortable and put away the image for a while, and just was when I saw her with members of the Justinian Society, which is the Italian American Law Society. When she was with the Italian American lawyers and she would come to a Justinian Society event, it's almost like she would be back in the old neighborhood. And if you may recall that when Angelo Bruno died, she went to the wake. Judge Rachette, she was a judge at the time. She went to the wake at the funeral home in South Philadelphia on Broad Street, and the media questioned her as she was coming out of the funeral home. And she said, "This family were friends of mine. They're friends of mine, okay?" And that was
good for her.
Because died is kind of a euphemism. I mean, he didn't exactly go gentle into that good night, but yeah,
right.
It was a South Philly. But I think that Dan, you put your finger on it. She was kind of a fish out of water in the on the bench in the judiciary. And I'm not saying she wasn't qualified. Far from it. Brilliant woman.
No,
but
she was.
Unlike Justice Newman, who was a chameleon in the way that she could adapt so well to different environments.
Yeah.
I don't know, Lisa. I mean, did you ever see her where she was in an environment where she wasn't at ease, where she wasn't comfortable? Because you guys knew her. I didn't know her well. We were just
Sandy never
friends.
Sandy was comfortable with anyone, anywhere. And she we did, like I've heard from so many people since she died, and you know what they say? I met her once. Oh, I loved her. Yeah. I met her once. Oh, she left an impression on people, even if it was a very short encounter.
Yeah.
And
she was a connector. She was a networker and connector. She's a connector of people.
Big time.
Okay? Unlike Judge Rachette, who you nailed it on her, Christine. She was a connector of people, Sandy. And she
always. And romantically, too. She used to give me a hard time. I told you should have gone with, I told you, why don't you call him up now? Cindy, he's married. Call him. You don't know what's going to happen in the years to come.
Yeah,
she had that. But yeah.
Here's another thing about this generation, this remarkable generation of women, was there was a certainty about them.
Yeah.
When they said something, there was very little doubt attached to it. Also, they didn't spend a lot of time analyzing themselves. Okay. Right. I could not picture any of them on a psychiatrist's couch. Okay.
No.
They just had this certainty about them and authority about them. And when they told you something, that was it.
Right. Their therapy was like Sharon moonlighting or moonstruck.
Right.
Now we're out of it. That's it.
Now out of it. Exactly. That's exactly right. That's true. She was positively certain when she said something. Although Sandy, unlike a lot of people today, if she could change her mind.
Yeah.
She could say, I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
And I really admire that about her. Like, she didn't dig her heels into everything. She had room to evolve. She had room to change her mind. And I thought that set a really good example, because I think sometimes women are kind of afraid to go against their own script, so to speak,
Yeah.
And so she did that. Who did I miss? What were you guys talking about before I came on?
We were talking about her, but we were talking about, just the women of that generation that, Dan talked about a good friend of his who also passed away the same week that, see, you guys can call her Sandy. I was like, Justice Newman. I have to call her Justice Newman. We were on Facebook, and she would inbox message me, and she would say, call me Sandra. Call me, well, she'd say, call
Yeah.
me Sandy. And if you can't,
Yes.
call me Sandra. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I can't. The closest I got was Madam Justice because, kind of like,
Well, that was
just
your
did it.
training as a lawyer. I mean, that's your training as a lawyer, as a professional.
You're
That's
right.
a professional respect.
Yeah.
But
I just can't.
one of these women is still alive, and that is
Who?
Lynn Abraham.
Oh, yeah. She's Frank Rizzo in a dress.
I love her.
Amazing personality, amazing person.
Who called her that? Who dubbed her Frank Rizzo in a dress? Who was
Probably
that?
Frank Rizzo.
You're right. You're probably
By
right.
the way,
Oh, I don't know who
guys,
gave her that name. Now, Frank Rizzo was the one who gave her the name.
Tough Cookie.
Tough Cookie. Right.
Dan,
Here
I'm
he is.
showing
Rizzo,
this
here
because
he is.
Lisa gave this to me. She
That's
framed
the
this
magazine
to me.
cover.
I wake up
I
every
love it.
morning to that face.
Christine,
love
some
that man.
people have Jesus on a crucifix. She has Frank Rizzo.
I have Frank Rizzo. I swear to God, Lisa, I wake up because my bed.
I love it.
I wake up and there he is, and he's smirking at me, and it's like, hey, Frank.
It's kind of like you're sleeping with them.
I know.
I mean, I think it works. It works for me.
I mean, it's the closest I'll ever get to him, but it's whatever. Anyway, but yeah.
Again, these are, we've had so many legends that are gone, and most of them are men, which is why, Sandy has such an impact, like when you think of like Leonard Toews, Bobby Simone, Neil Stein, all these fabulous characters that are gone, that are, have passed on. And it's, Philly's not the same without them.
It's not. And I worry about when we lose people like Ed Rendell, and when we're going to lose, it will be completely different because there is no one standing in line behind them with that same character,
And really, you're right.
Many politicians and public figures today are, what can I say, sort of plastic. I mean, they're sort of created by their handlers and their advisors, and you can't even really get to know them very well. They're inscrutable. You're
absolutely right.
Lisa, you wrote a beautiful tribute to Carol Saline, who she wasn't in the legal profession, but a giant of journalism. I mean, where
and another really
that was a fabulous story that you wrote, Lisa, about Carol.
Thank you. She was another one who knew who she was, and and dealt with a lot of shit, to be frank. With like Philly Mag, never paid her correctly. Never. They treated her like they were cutting her a break when she first started. Yep. And
one of the reasons that you of course, she was, and Stephen, your friend Stephen, Mike Newell, not Mike Newell, Mike Quinn. I mean, there were some great writers there, but she was amazing.
Let me mention that Carol Saline was from my hometown of Camden.
Yes,
She went
to Camden High School with my brother-in-law. They graduated the same year.
Her second husband, who the love of her life, Paul, they were in grade school together, and he had a crush on her in grade school.
Oh, wow. I love that story about, later in life love that you find, that is just, it's so hopeful.
Isn't that
and inspiring?
There's hope for us, Christine. There's hope for us.
There's hope for us, Lisa. I think there's more hope for you than there is for me. I think I've alienated every male on both sides of the political aisle in the Philadelphia area. So
You're fair.
I'll deal with Frank. I've got Frank.
Oh my God.
Lisa, do you have any good Lynn Abraham stories?
Oh God, I never knew her. I mean, I've met her many times, but I wish I had really hung out with her. All the Lynn Abraham stories I know are the mythical ones that everybody knows.
Right.
I have a Lynn Abraham story, and it's a very quick one.
Yeah, tell us.
Lynn was Lynn and my dad went to law school together, and Daddy was in the night division at Temple, and Lynn was in the day division. Judge, I still call her Judge, and she was in the day division. But my father invited her into what is called a study group. Law students would have these study groups.
Mhm.
They would help each other learn, how to prepare for the bar exam and everything. And my dad, who was ahead of his time, invited this female into the study group with 2 or 3 other guys. And this was at a time,
I love that.
1965, when there may have been like 10 women at Temple Law. And the other guys were like, well, really, you want to? And my father was like, no, she is whip smart. We need her. So they became very, very close. And my dad would go home and tell my mom, oh, Lynn's one of the guys. Lynn is this, Lynn is that. She's just one of the guys. She's really smart and everything. And my mother's like, oh, okay. So they go to this cocktail party for law students and their spouses. And at that point, Lynn was not married to Frank Ford yet. She was still single. And my mother, as my mother says, Lynn walks into the room and she's wearing this almost like the World of Susie Wong, one of those Chinese really tight dresses with silk, and she had a really nice figure, and her hair was all done, lots of makeup, and she comes up and introduces herself to my mother, and she says, "Hi, I'm Lynn Abraham. I'm in Ted's study group," and my mom is like, that night she said that when she found my father, he was somewhere else. She said, "That's one of the guys." Like, you're spending more time with that than with me, and that's a guy. And she always laughed about that. But she was a hot number when she was young.
I didn't know that. I love hearing this.
Yeah.
I just love ballsy women, and these women are ballsy women, and against a lot of odds, a lot of them, really. When you look at, Sandy was the first this.
Yeah.
You can, it's endless, her accomplishments and her barrier crushing and her ceiling breaking. And, it's just amazing.
I can't believe that there wasn't, that there hasn't been a more public memorial for Justice Newman, although
Very upset about that.
Name the Philadelphia courtroom of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court after her. I was at that event.
You were both there, I know.
We were both there. And
yeah. Okay.
Is the courtroom in City Hall, or is it at the criminal? Is it in City Hall or the Criminal Justice Center?
It's in City Hall.
Oh, great!
Yeah. And
there's beautiful old courtroom.
I'm so glad that happened, because I will say, like, during it, like with some things that we're saying, I did have that feeling. It was kind of like eulogies,
Yeah. So so you think that maybe that, like, she knew and the family knew what the situation was, and so that was sort of like, that was her going away or memorial or whatever.
I don't know.
How wonderful that she had a chance to be at her own memorial.
Well, yes, everybody should be able to hear what people say about them after they die.
It's like we always want to be at our own funerals to see what people say.
I plan to.
Not to be morbid, but people were celebrating her while she was still here. I think we should all do that. I think instead of going to a funeral and mourning someone, we should celebrate them while they're still here.
Yeah, I know. I do think certainly there's an open window here for, maybe the Bar Association, maybe the Supreme Court will throw something of a service. I was surprised only because clearly that must have been her wishes, right? Which surprised me, because I thought she would say, have a big party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she was always wanted to bring people together. And I did feel, and I talked to Dan about this a little bit, God, I would have loved this. Maybe this is very selfish. Love to be around other people who are going to miss her so much, Like my mother always said, funerals are for the living, and that's true.
They
That's-
are, absolutely. But Lisa, she traveled extensively. She lived a life
Mm-hmm.
way up here. I mean, among the cognoscenti. I mean, she
Yep.
lived a glamorous life, huh?
Yeah, Sandy. Yeah. But see, she was such a Philly person.
Yeah. Yeah.
She didn't talk about world travels. She talked about the Montgomery County Courthouse. You know what I mean? She was a real Philly girl. And you know, all of the stories, like she met Jules. He was a caterer. He was working for a catering company to put his way through school. He wasn't like when the Inquirer wrote in 19 whatever, she married the plastic surgeon Julius. No. He was not a plastic surgeon when she married him. He was a waiter. And she was at a bar mitzvah and he served her a knish. He served her, and she ended up marrying him. And you know, they didn't have 2 nickels to rub together when they started out. You know, she described like the crazy, you know, a small apartment. And then when he was in medical school, he came home once with like bloody scrubs, and he threw them in the bathtub. And she said, "This is not what I signed up for. These bloody things in my bathroom." You know, it wasn't easy in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it was funny because when they did combined, you know, make a lot of money, they were also the most generous people in the world. Like when I handed the story in, my editor said, "I love it. Even though you interviewed her chauffeur. I mean, come on, what's he going to say?" I said, "I'll tell you what he could have said. You know, he could have said off the record, she's a bitch."
Yeah.
But no, she lavished not just material things, but there were plenty of those. But also just attention, like thoughtfulness. You know, like one of her workers described how he was going on vacation, and she said, "Well, where are you going?" And he said, "Oh, it's an all-you-can-eat and drink and sleep package deal. We're going for 4 days." She said, "Do you mind me asking how much that costs?" And he told her it was like $430 back then. And you know, that was all that was said. And when he got home, there was a check tucked into his jacket pocket for $500.
Oh.
And she said to him I can't take this. She said, "That's not from the nose. It's from me. You have to take it."
Not from the nose.
But she really cared. Like it wasn't just, you know, throwing money around. It was, oh, they're going on this vacation.
Yeah.
And $500 to her was lunch money. But it meant the world to this band. And she thought that way. She was very thoughtful in her generosity.
And she never really got over the death of her husband.
Oh no. And she even like, I don't remember a conversation where he did not come up. And she always said, you know, I never got over him. I'll never get over him. You know, he was loving I'll never get over him.
Yeah.
And you know, she had a very short marriage, a rebound marriage, I would call it, to Marty Weinberg. It lasted like 10 minutes.
Wow.
I wasn't surprised by that at all, by the way. I was thinking, all right, I'm going to say this. Marty Weinberg is known for never picking up a check, right?
Oh my God.
And I'm thinking, and I said this to Sandy. I said, "You're the most generous person on earth." You know, Sandy's the type that would pick up anonymously checks, right?
Yeah.
And I said, "And he's a cheap ass." What, you know? So I wasn't surprised. I like him, by the way, but he is. Anyway.
that says something, and I don't know him, and I'm sure,
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
bless him. He's a child of God.
Yeah.
But to me, if somebody who's cheap, and I dated a guy one time who was so cheap that how women sometimes when you go out to lunch and they have to like splice the check.
Yeah. Wait,
I hate that. I just like
I hate that.
pour it again.
Mhm.
This guy was the same way. He was like a lady at lunch, and that was it. I saw that happen. We ate at the Penrose. It was the most horrible experience of my life. We had been dating for almost a year at that point.
Really? How did
he acted at the Penrose? That was the end of the relationship. I said, I'm sorry. It's just like.
How did you not know earlier, though, Christine? Come on.
Because most of the time we really didn't go out that much. Like I would bring food over to his house.
Well, see, then he was a cheapest the whole time.
He was a cheapo. And, and I'm really glad that this is not the fiance that broke up with me, who also was rather cheap. But no, this was a different person. I have bad luck, Lisa. Anyway, but
join the club, honey. Get in line.
Looks are important, but they are so secondary to having a big and generous heart. I want someone who's going to treat everybody.
Big, generous heart, but we also need men who can return the volley. And that's hard to find.
Yes, it is very hard to find. Sorry, Dan. We're having a girls' conversation over here.
Return the volley, and also who have a good sense of humor. Isn't that important too?
Absolutely.
Oh God, yeah. Well, that's part of returning the volley.
Exactly.
Okay. That's right. That's part
and
of.
Don't hold grudges. That's for me. We can hold grudges.
Oh, I hold grudges.
I do too. No, but I don't want them to hold grudges.
I'm Italian. Do I have to even talk about holding grudges?
Oh God, yeah, you have to. You really have to.
I mean, I think that was a big motivator to get back to Judge Rochette of why she went to that wake. It was a matter of respect.
I'm so glad.
Italians don't disrespect. The Italians don't forget it. I mean, you have an Italian family. Somebody's not talking to somebody because 30 years ago they didn't go to his aunt's wake. Okay.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's why they keep the book, so that you can, like, when somebody dies in their family, you say, "Did they come to ours?" And you go look at the book.
That's right.
That's what they do. We do. But who else did we?
Some people actually keep lists of these things. Now I don't keep lists.
But in the Catholic funeral homes, I mean, you sign the book when you go into the funeral parlor.
I know.
You sign the book.
And I know they're looking at it afterwards. That bastard didn't come.
The book, that's right.
He didn't come. Why should we go?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You want to be in that book. You want to sign that book. I will tell you this: when I first, after I came out of college and I first started looking for a job, and this of course was way before social media and the internet and all. You did all this by sending out letters by snail mail. And honest to God, I must have received more than 100 letters of rejection. Okay. I kept them all. In fact, I still have quite a few of them. Okay.
So did my dad. My dad had a shoebox.
This is from like more than 50 years ago. All right, 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember some of those people and some of those organizations. I never forgot. And now, of course, a lot of the people are dead now.
You got the best revenge of all. You outlived them.
I hopefully I outlived them and I got the jobs I wanted, but I never forgot it. I never forgot those rejections. All right.
Yeah, that's important.
No, grudge holding is extremely it's survival. And I don't mean
it's underrated.
It really is. This whole thing about turning the other cheek and forgive. I said that to somebody the other day. They said, you need to forgive.
Slap it.
Exactly. Somebody said, well, you're not a good Catholic. I said, damn straight, I'm not a good Catholic. I'm a Catholic. I'm practicing to be better, but there's no way. I'm not gonna forgive someone. I mean, it depends on the level of the offense.
Yep.
you know, but there are certain unforgivable things. And I'm not about to, I love it when, you know, all of that therapy speak, they go, you don't forgive them for them. You forgive them for yourself. No freaking way. I'm
No.
keeping the grudge is for myself. It makes me feel better.
Yes.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
the obits, because you're still hoping you're going to find them in the obits, you know?
Yes.
Like, that's how
yeah.
the grudge is so strong.
And then I go to that funeral just to gloat.
In a red dress. In a red dress.
And high heels.
Which character was it? He said, and when you die, oh, Cher. In Moonstruck, and I'll show up at your funeral in a red dress. You know,
what a great movie.
You know, we Italian women, we're tough.
That movie is the anthem of the Italian woman. I truly believe it.
I agree with you. I agree. Who are we missing I love that you brought up Lynn Abraham. She definitely is in that incredible mold of women who knew exactly who they were.
Yeah.
And without apology, you know, went through life without apology.
Yeah. We did Carol. Marcia Rose was another. Marcia Rose Shestack.
Carol. Yes. And I'm glad you brought up Carol, because Carol really was. I mean, she didn't take any shit. You know, the story, I think it was one of the obituaries where she got laid off at one point in Philly Mag. She came in the next day. She kept going. She showed up every day for work.
Good for her. She wouldn't allow herself to be fired.
No, I'm not going to be fired. And she came in every day and did her job until finally they, like, you know, embarrassingly put her back on the payroll.
Wow.
And was paying her coolie wages, but it was like, I'm not getting fired. Are you kidding me? No, that's my job.
Didn't she write her own obituary for the New York Times?
Yes, she did.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a big Philadelphia magazine story about her calling the obit writer. So that was very shrewd, because she got 2 big obituaries in the Inquirer. One when she was alive and one when she actually did die.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and she had control over what they said, what was going to be said.
Total control. I love that about her. I mean, you know, she really crossed all the T's and dotted the I's. Yeah. And I loved how when she said, oh, the reason she was doing this, that's the only thing she did fun, was so her family wouldn't have to worry about doing the obit. I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. You did it to get 2 obits.
I love it. Can you guys think of anyone? We've talked about, you know, journalism and the legal profession. Can you guys think of anyone of that stature in, like, the media? We talked about journalism, but the broadcast media in the Philadelphia area. I'm trying to think of a woman, like, you know,
the one that comes to mind is Marcia Rose. Marcia Rose.
Yeah.
I mean,
she was the pioneer. She's still alive.
Well, Jessica Savage.
Jessica Savage. Yeah.
Oh, Jessica Savage. Oh, yes. Well, that was a tragic story, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, Lisa, that Philadelphia really covered it.
Before my time. But, you know, her personality had nothing to do with her demise. You know, she did not get punished for being absolutely strong and cool, you know. But yeah, and I'm thinking, like, gosh, you know, and then you could look at the national stage, and I'm sorry, but, you know, the trailblazer of all time is Hillary.
Yeah.
And, you know, and there are a lot of people, you know, they talk about buyer's remorse after an election. I think there's a lot of non-buyer's remorse that I hear from people who say, I said I could never vote for Hillary Clinton. I kind of wish I had.
The thing about Hillary, and I was, you know, I always criticized her for a lot of things, but she is a woman who is a survivor.
Absolutely.
And someone who, you know, we talk about Justice Newman, who did it her own way with her own money, and Hillary did not need Bill to get
No,
where she
no,
got.
no.
I mean, in
I
fact, I think she's
strongly-
overshadowed him in the later years with her career.
I strongly recommend you read Curtis Sittenbrand's book called Rodham. She's the one who, she does the books like if this happened, and she writes a fictional account, so it's based totally on fact.
Yeah.
Of what Hillary would have happened to Hillary's life if she left Bill at Yale.
Wow.
It's great.
I'll have to do that.
But really, like you look at, some of these women on the national scale who are role models to a lot of people in the country.
Well, one
Nancy
who's no longer
Pelosi.
with us.
I'm not a fan of Nancy Pelosi's politics,
Absolutely,
but
absolutely.
goddamn, Baltimore girl
Yep,
was,
yeah.
straight to the top.
I mean, one who is no longer with us spoke about the media, of course, is Barbara Walters.
Oh God, yes. God,
I mean,
yes.
She was, amazing trailblazer.
God, yes. Oh, yes.
Incredible story.
Mm-hmm. Some of these women, what did they have in common? They knew how to dress.
Oh yeah.
Well, they certainly knew how to present themselves.
Connie Chung, Diane Sawyer. These are
Connie
beautiful
Chung,
women.
amazing.
I love Connie. I love Connie.
Yeah.
She's
Oh,
like
I
83 right now, and she's still
read her
drop
book.
dead gorgeous.
And Marty's still around, huh? Wow.
Connie's still here, and what's his name?
Maury.
She's still married to Maury.
Yeah, Maury Povich.
Still married to
That's
Maury,
the
yeah.
oddest couple I've ever seen
Yes.
in my life.
Yeah.
But they're in love,
The other thing about these women is that we were mentioning it before you came on, Lisa. They enjoyed the company of men. They liked getting right in there with the guys. They liked that they were attracted. That they were
Absolutely.
that men were attracted to them, and they were attracted to men.
Absolutely.
They liked it.
Barbara Walters, Fidel.
Yeah, and so
Steamy rumor.
that was just a given. And they also knew, as we've talked about this before, they knew how to naturally set boundaries with men. Okay.
Yeah, and they knew too, like if somebody pats you on the back, it's not sexual harassment.
Yes.
Right.
And you don't have to file a lawsuit. You just have to say, knock it off, asshole. These women were that kind of women. And I just admire that so much. And
Plus, they didn't feel like they had to be so serious. Like Caitlin Collins. I mean, I know people like her, but she's so damn serious all the time. I haven't seen her crack a smile.
Oh, you sound like Trump. He said the same thing.
I know. No, but the truth is, and I'm not saying it because she's a woman. I'm saying it because I like people who are human. Like when they're on screen, you almost see the bloopers happening as opposed to feeling that.
I like her. I have a girl crush on her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying
and Liz Cheney.
Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney was, very independent, very independent character.
Like, what a woman, okay? What a woman. And you could say that about all of these women that we're talking about who were trailblazers. What a woman.
And I'm going to say something that probably both of you will disagree with, but, it didn't end well, but I'm sorry. I thought Sarah Palin, when she started out, when she was the governor of Alaska, before she went on the national stage and then everything
she went nuts.
She was a tough character. She was she gave birth to a child that she knew was going to have Down syndrome. She walked the walk. I mean, this is a pro-life woman who doesn't just talk about it. I mean, she did it. And she was tough as
I agree. I
don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. I think in many ways she got a bad rap. I think that guys in what was a losing campaign, it was easy for them to toss the blame on her.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that
McCain used her and didn't.
Yeah, I don't think that McCain was a particularly great candidate. He wasn't really a people person. He wasn't an ingratiating person. He didn't have a very likable personality.
That's
All right.
she was.
He was sort of vindictive. He could be very sour at times. And I think it was easy to just blame a lot of this stuff on her. She
Well,
became a scapegoat.
have you guys seen the HBO sort of docudrama Game Change, which focuses on that part of the book by Halperin and I forget the other guy. And Julianne Moore morphs into Sarah Palin. But what you're saying, Dan, is very true. In many ways, she gave that boost of energy to McCain. He would never have gotten to the finish line, even, without her. And he didn't even with her. But
I gotta say, I agree with you that when she emerged, if she could have just kept that she. I remember I was in Beirut.
Really?
Yeah, the night of the convention where she spoke.
2008. Yeah.
A lipstick on a pig speech, and I was on my way to Baghdad.
Wow.
And sitting in a hotel room, those hotels in the middle, the floors are all tile, freezing cold tile.
Yeah.
Really cold. And Sarah Palin was giving that speech, and I said, holy shit, the Dems are fucked. She was so powerful and so good and so savvy. But, if she could have stayed there.
Yeah, you're right. She couldn't maintain that moment. She caught the fire, lightning in a bottle. And I watched it at my kitchen table. I was all alone, had that tiny little TV, and I'm watching it and I'm thinking, holy shit. And so I called up Michael Sheffer, who was my editor at the Daily News at that time. And I said, you have to let me write something. I know tomorrow is not my time, but you have to let me write. And he said, sure, because I thought what you thought. I said, oh my God, McCain has it in the bag because of her.
It was breathtaking, but here's the thing you have to know in politics. The minute that she finished that, and everybody saw that it was lightning in the bottle, and they knew that it was breathtaking, then she was really in trouble. Because then the knives came out.
That's true. That's true.
And the knives came out.
I think Steve Smith, I think those guys, I cannot stand Nicole Wallace, but not
they let her down. They let her down.
Yeah.
And they didn't have loyalty, which is very important in politics and not as rare as you think. But the ones who I really admire have loyalty. Yeah. Whether they're on, it doesn't matter what side they're on.
Or whatever side. I say that loyalty is the coin of the realm in politics. Okay, that's the coin of the realm. That's it.
That's why I have such respect.
We're coming on over an hour.
This is great.
Oh, wow.
Do it again.
I love this. Are you kidding me? I couldn't wait to get back from dinner. I'm like, I get to see Dan and Christine.
Well, we should do this again. We could have another topic to talk. I mean, it's all stream of consciousness.
We will do it again.
Yeah.
We will definitely do it again. And this is we've been on my YouTube channel. We're on dancerichie.com. We're on Facebook now. I don't know how many people are watching it now, but people can watch it at any time. It's going to be up there.
To look at the green light.
Go to dancerichie.com. You could go to my Facebook page. You could go to my YouTube channel, and it's there. It's there. You can watch it at any time.
If it's recorded on YouTube, and then we can upload it to our social media so people can watch it.
Good.
Yes, you can capture it from YouTube and put it on your, or you can share it from my my Facebook page to your Facebook page.
That's what I'll do.
Yeah, and please be sure to do that because that will increase the number of people that watch it.
I will.
Yeah, you have a lot of followers, Linda. Yeah, you have a lot of followers, Lisa, Linda. I'm like, I haven't had my dinner yet, people. I'm hungry.
Christine, you have a huge number of followers, so be sure to post it.
I will.
I do. Well, I'm losing all my conservative followers, Dan, because they think that I hate ICE, and I don't hate ICE. It's just like I hate what ICE is doing right now.
I know that is a topic for another program.
Speaking up. I'm glad you're speaking up
Thank you.
because you're in the trenches.
I mean, like we said, you know what? The three of us, we're
Yeah.
Italian. We're outspoken. Nobody has ever accused any
We
of us.
carry grudges.
What?
We carry grudges.
We carry grudges.
We carry grudges, but
We
we
create
don't agree.
grudges.
But we don't agree on everything.
No.
But we can still love one another. We can still have
Boring. How boring would it be if we agreed with each other on everything?
Let's make a pact. We'll each go to whichever funeral comes first. I mean, you'll come to mine. I'll go to yours. You go to whatever. We'll each go to our funerals.
Red dresses are required at mine.
Absolutely. Dan, you don't need to wear a red dress.
Oh, I'd like to see that, though. Then we really are starting to be on the same page. Okay. It was
all right.
wonderful. Good night, Christine. Good night.
Good night, beautiful. Good night, Danny. Give my love to Carol. Good night, you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Night, Mary Ellen.
Good night. Thank you, ladies.